Looking for a new, more powerful dual band HT? You need to check out the new Tidradio H8. Hi, and welcome to the Gadget Talk channel, where we do reviews and how-tos on a variety of gadgets that catch my eye. If you find this video helpful, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Gadget Talk channel. It really helps get this content presented to more YouTube users, and I really appreciate it. In this video, we're going to take a look at a new version of Tidradio's H8 for ham radio. The fact is, this radio has had a couple of struggles when it was first released. You can still find those reviews on YouTube, so I don't plan on going into the past issues here. Instead, I want to focus on the current release, which is a pretty good little HT. I was excited to join the Tidradio beta test team about a year ago to examine this new H8 handheld transceiver, and I helped work through some of the pre-release issues. Obviously, Tidradio provided the radio, and I thank them for the opportunity. The version 2 radio that's now available is much better than the early test models. Recent hardware and firmware updates seem to have stomped out the earlier bugs. The ham version of the radio has 200 channels, and all are programmable from the radio faceplate, the customer programming software, or via Bluetooth and the ODMaster programming app. The NOAA weather channels come programmed into the last several channels of the radio. The radio has all the standard menu items in 45 menu entries. These include CTCSS and DCS for both transmit and receive, display options for the dual band display, and the newer sync display option found on some recent radios. The latest firmware dated 2023-09-23, which I uploaded to the radio, also includes a mic gain menu item and a firmware version item. I tested the ham version's power output using my Surecom S33 Plus. In the VHF band, I got 9, 5.4, and 1.5 for high, medium, and low respectively. The UHF outputs were 7, 3.8, and 0.5 for the same settings. Signal purity tests on the latest version measured on my little tiny SA signal analyzer was better than the previous version and passed on my device. Let's take an up-close look at the H8. I got the offering without the extra accessories. I'll link to both in the video descriptions below. So let's do a quick tour. Here's the box that the Tidradio H8 Gen 2 comes in. It's nothing special, but it kept the thing safe during shipping, so that's all good. And so let's take a look at some of the things that are found inside. First, we've got a little card here that gives you the website to their downloads page. You can get the user manual, programming software, and other things there. The owner's manual is pretty good. It's written well. It covers all of the main features. It has a description of all of the icons, and there's a little section here on some color pages on how to set up the ODMaster or ODMaster app. And then there's a chart that goes through each of the menu items with pictures of what's happening on the screen and so forth. So that's the owner's manual, pretty handy. Now the H8 comes with 2 ways to charge it. This has got just a wall wart or a USB, so a 5-volt output into a USB-C cable. I've got several of these, so I've just got it continued in the package so I don't misplace all of that. And then it's got the desk charger, and you see here on the back, it doesn't plug in with a barrel connector, but it plugs in with that same USB-C connector from the cable. So you can use this as a desk charger, or you can plug the USB-C cable directly into the battery and omit the charger. So it gives you an option there, and that's pretty cool. Of course, it comes with a belt clip. The belt clip in this case screws into the radio. and it's pretty strong. It's the same as the other, H8s that I've showed you. So it's got a belt clip, got a wrist strap, and then the battery. The battery here is a lithium-ion 2500 milliamp hour, 7.4 volt battery. At least that's how it's described here on this, with the power inputs there at the top. And then the radio comes here. We'll do a comprehensive tour here in just a second. But the radio, the battery clips on the bottom with this little clip. And so with USB charging, having a clip like this, it works fine. You're not going to be taking the battery in and out very often. So get the battery down there, push it in, and then snap the clip closed. And so that all fits nice and tight. Here are the holes for the belt clip. And then before we go into an in-depth tour of the radio itself, here's the antenna. It's a little thinner and maybe a little longer than the typical rubber ducky antenna. The socket is on this side, and then it's got it's a dual band antenna, and the frequency ranges are in that little red insert in there. They're printed there. So that's the antenna. Let's put the antenna on the radio and go through a tour of that real quick. Now, for all intents and purposes, the radio is the same as the other H8s that I've described, same radio body or chassis that the GMRS version is. But there are some changes inside in terms of power output and that kind of thing. But let's do the tour now. So we've got the screen, the speakers behind this grid here. The microphone is right down here. It's got the VFO memory mode changing button here. This will turn on the Bluetooth. It's labeled BL. A and B will switch between the upper and lower register. And then these are pretty familiar to you. They've got the menu and the exit. You can shortcut to menu items 0 through 1 by pressing menu and then the key, and then you can go into the other menu items by pressing menu, and if you want item menu 23, you can press 23. You can also scroll up and down. We'll show you that here in just a second. And then there's a keyboard lock down here in the corner. So that's the front display of the radio. On the side, we've got the K1 connector, 3.5, 2.5 millimeter for things like your programming cable and your hand mic. On the top, we've got a programmable button here that normally is used to set off the alarm. There's an LED indicator here for receive and transmit. The flashlight LED on-off button right here. On this side of the radio, we have the primary push-to-talk. We've got programmable key 1, programmable key 2. Those are programmable in the menus and in the software. And then on the bottom, really not anything to speak of except on the battery. We've got the USB-C port right here and a little LED charge indicator right here. Now this is open to the elements, and so this isn't going to have a great deal of intrusion protection or an IP score, but USB charging via a USB-C connector is really very handy. So that's a quick tour of the radio. Let me zoom in here and we'll take a look at some of the menus. Let's do a quick power on tour. Turn it on. Notice the splash screen's a little different with the newest firmware. And we've got this set up in the sync display, and I'll show you that here in just a few minutes. But the screen is colorful. It's light text on a black background. You got the power meter at the top, a battery indicator, the antenna over here on the left side. It'll show a signal when you're pressing transmit. You see that it's wide mode, high power. The frequency, it's on channel 1, and the name for channel 1 is VHF call, the way I have this programmed. And the second VFO is on 136.5. I have no idea what that is. Over here is the CTCSS or DCS indicator. It says it's off for this channel. When you're on a channel that has a CTCSS code in receive, it'll show on when it's in standby, like it is now, receive mode. Otherwise, if it's just a transmit only CTCSS code, it'll only show CT in here or DCS in here when you're pressing your push to talk. So this is kind of mode specific, which is kind of handy, but it took me a little while to figure that out. So here on the buttons on the radio, I've got the VFO mode, I can change, you see it changed it over there, back to channel mode. Here turns the Bluetooth on. For the Bluetooth programming, you'll notice the Bluetooth shows up over here. Bluetooth icon there. Here we'll switch from A to B. You'll see the little caret move. And what displays in the main part of the display also changes. We'll go back to channel mode. There, my primary display. Over here, we've got programmable keys. A short press on the side key 1 turns the flashlight on. You can see it's on. Second press will cause it to strobe. Third press will turn it off. A long press on side key 1, as I have it programmed, is the monitor, which breaks the squelch, basically. Side key number 2, the second one down over here, moves to FM radio mode. Second press takes it out of there. And a long press will take you into the weather mode. And you can change the channels to get to the channel that's broadcasting in your area. Another long press on the side key button will take it out of the weather mode. So let's look at the menus just very quickly. The menus are pretty much the same. I think there are 45 menu items in this right now. And so we press menu, and to move up and down the menu, you can press the up and down, or you can just type the menu. So if I wanted to go to the brightness, I would press menu. It's in menu, and then I could press 6. And I've got the backlight brightness here, the ABR, and I've got it on continuous while we're recording. If I want to go to another menu item, I can go to item like 45. And that's the mic gain, which is new to just previous version of the firmware, which allows you to change the mic gain on settings from 0 or 1 to 25. I use the down arrow. I can press going down through the menus. The power on message is the icon, which is the little picture. Here's that breath LED setting that causes the little light here to flash when the display is empty. So the breathing analogy that they've used. This is really handy. Item 42 is the ham. And so this radio came with an August firmware. I just updated it to the September 23rd firmware. And it's very easy to do. And again, the URL for that is walkietalkiesoftware.com, where you can select the H8 and then get access to the various software packages. So again, go to menu, timed out there, so we'll continue on down. The repeater, squelch tail elimination, various DTMF and radio ID options here. Here is the sync. I've got it on. That's the display that we've been looking at. If we turn it off, you get a much simplified version where it gives you the frequency that you're on, the channel you're on, and the frequency and the name that you've given that frequency. And so if you like a little bit more austere of a display, then that sync setting is for you. I like the other one, so I'm going to go up to the sync on setting, confirm that, and then go into this more busy but informative display. And so the rest of the menu items are pretty much the same as you expect on radios like this. You know, CT, CSS, DCS for receive and transmit, choices for setting up repeaters and the like. So that's the menu tour of the Tidradio H8 with what is today the current version of the software. The H8 has a downloadable customer programming software program, or CPS, that allows you to use your computer to program the radio variables and channels. This makes adding channels much easier if you're planning on importing more than just a couple. Even though it's a fairly new release, it's supported by Chirp. Both the CPS and the firmware I mentioned earlier are available on the Tidradio website with a URL of walkietalkiesoftware.com. So here's the latest version of the Tidradio H8 ham. It's dated September of 2023, I think September 12th, and it comes up and looks pretty much like the older version did. And when we look here, we see we've got the typical Windows drop-down menus as we've done before. And to make use of this, we're going to start by looking at the Set menu item, and we're going to go to Program, and we're going to select COM4. I've already looked at my device manager, and I know that this particular programming cable comes up as COM4. The next thing we'll do is we'll read from the radio. I've done that as well in just this brief overview. And I've got some channels programmed in. And then we can go up here to Edit, and we can go into Optional Features. And here's where the menu items are. So my squelch level is 3, light control. The backlight will stay on for 15 seconds. This is an interesting new addition. It's the breath LED. And I tried to figure what that out, and then it dawned on me. It flashes the little LED on the radio in the amount of time that you select here. And it shows the radio's on. So it's like breathing. So that's why they've called it the breath LED. It's in English, various other things that I have set here for my radio. So I've got those all set. These, you can click in here, and then you can type in various frequencies. You can add a name in here. So I've got various names added in. And so this works pretty easy, and you'll figure it out in no time, I'm sure. So when we've done making our changes, we'll go here into File, Save As, and then give it a name. I usually name it the date, like 2023-10/08, which is today's date. I save it into my computer. This one happens to save it as a text file. And then I will press Write with the programming cable plugged in, and the radio will say programming, and it'll download. We'll get a dialog box right here, and the information will go into the radio. So this is one of 3 ways you can program your radio. You can program it via Bluetooth in the ODMaster app. You can program it here with this program, and then it is Chirp compatible as well. So here's the home page for the Chirp programming software. You can download it. I would download the next gen version of Chirp. This is not a Chirp tutorial, but this homepage will give you an idea of the radios that are covered. And in this case, we're over here. It's Tidradio. It's the H8 ham. And so it's listed, so it's going to work. So that is available to you as well as an option to program your radio. If you're familiar with the Tidradio BL1 Bluetooth wireless programmer, you'll be pleased to know that the H8 has Bluetooth programming built in. The radio connects easily to the ODMaster app, and you can transfer programming info to and from the ODMaster web portal if you choose. Editing in the web portal, like with the CPS, is easier than the app if you have a bunch of additions or changes to make. The app also allows you to modify or reload data offline for easy, on-the-go changes. I'll link my video on the updated ODMaster app at the end card to this video. The latest version of the ODMaster app is a bit different from my review. A nice improvement is when selecting a channel on the app, instead of scrolling down, the channels display in a grid, so it's much easier to get to say, channel 150. It also allows you to use the app without registering. My situation is probably a bit different in that I had several H8s in my phone's Bluetooth registry. When I got this new one, the app wouldn't pair. It seems it got confused as to what Bluetooth device code to use. When I unpaired my other H8 devices and then connected to the one I was using, everything worked fine. One of the really cool features of the H8 is the color screen. It has a dark background, and the various data elements display in different colors, making this an easy display to read. I've been able to call my local ham repeaters and have gotten good signal reports back from other hams. The H8's 2500 milliamp hour battery also provides excellent battery life. Range-wise, the radio hit the repeaters I normally access. One is across town, about 30 miles away. As with all VHF and UHF radios, geography makes a big difference, so, as they say, your mileage may differ. I found the latest ham version of the Tidradio H8 to be a solid, good-looking, and easy-to-use HT. With holiday gift-giving just around the corner, you may want to get the H8 on your list. Join me over here for a look at the ODMaster Bluetooth programming app. It's an important accessory for the H8 that you'll want to consider, and it's free. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the Gadget Talk channel. Thanks for watching, and 73.